when healthy, is as good as they come.
They're really the two aces, but Carpenter has ace stuff, where Harang has ace mentality, but not the best stuff on their staff, but he pitches like an ace.
And Chris Carpenter, not only does he have the good stuff, he's pretty competitive as well. Last outing, the only runs he's given up all season long for the Cardinals. .62 ERA, 3-0 record. And the count evens now to the leadoff hitter, Jerry Hairston Jr. He's had a nice series. .267 batting average. A little more pop than you'd think, 7 homers. And he's in the leadoff spot. Willie Taveras has been nursing a hamstring injury. He's not in the lineup today. Normally in center field. Good sinker from Carpenter. And he has Hairston off balance, and Carpenter, the way he often does, ahead in the count.
Well, that's it. I mean, he attacks the zone. He attacks hitters, not afraid to throw any of his pitches over for strikes. And usually you get a pretty good idea of what his command is like. He didn't have his best stuff last time out, so they only got 2 runs off him.
2-2 to Hairston. A couple of other Reds have had good series. Lance Nix is the one that sticks out. He's 5 for 10 in this series.
I'm anxious to see how Carpenter attacks him after we got the Ruse scouting report.
It'll be fun. Ball hit hard, but handled by the third baseman Thurston across the diamond for out number 1. And we'll take a look at the Cardinal defense. Thurston makes that nice play. Ankiel, Rasmus, and Ludwig are the outfielders from left to right. Brendan Ryan's been very good defensively up the middle. Skip Schumacher improving. And the battery of Chris Carpenter and Yadier Molina. That's our auto tire Cardinal defense.
Usually when you have Carpenter on the mound, they know that he's going to work quick, throw a lot of strikes, so the defense is on their toes. The only question is, how much run support is he going to get?
Maybe a base hit up the middle. Diving Skip Schumacher can't handle it. And one thing we've seen is that the Reds are going to be swinging at that first pitch against Carpenter.
Well, why not? You know, I mean, this is the Cardinal philosophy to get ahead in the count. So if you're going to see a lot of strikes, you don't want to get in a position where he has 2 strikes on you and really work you over with his cutter or something.
He knows what to do with that.
Yeah, so I mean,
count, doesn't he?
But you know what? Good pitchers, they are ready for that. They're going to throw strikes, but they're going to keep the ball in the ballpark. And you know, most of the time it's going to be right at a fielder, and if one sneaks through or something like that, the next guy has potential to hit a double play.
Brandon Phillips with some power in the third spot in this Reds lineup. 10 homers, 40 RBIs for Phillips. See if he swings at that first pitch down in the zone. I noticed yesterday, Al, that for both you and I, we both at the same time came to the same kind of forgiveness of the antics of Brandon Phillips on the same day. We noticed him early in the career. He used to do a lot of the antics that kind of drive us old timers crazy. But he seems to be a lot more professional.
Well, I think what it is now he was a wannabe. You know, he wanted to be a good player.
Right.
Now that he is a good player, he knows it, and so the antics have stopped.
Well, the ability hasn't stopped, that's for sure. This Reds club begins action 4 games over 500. Ground ball left side. Probably not enough time to get to, but they do as Phillips hobbles down to first base. The Cardinals turn a double play. Good quick inning for Chris Carpenter. No score. On to the bottom of the first here in St. Louis. No score. Cardinals will get their first shot at Aaron Harang in front of a very nice crowd here in St. Louis. Here's a look at the Cardinal lineup. Colby Rasmus is very hot in this series, and he's batting in the second spot in the lineup in front of Albert. Cardinals need to get a little action in this lineup behind Albert in the fourth and fifth spot. Aaron Harang, the starter for Cincinnati.
You see he's 500, and you know it's been up and down with him. His last time out, he really got roughed up by the Milwaukee Brewers. They hit 3 home runs against him, and he allowed 12 hits. We have seen at times that he can be a handful, as he's got, as I said, he's got the mentality of a number one. Doesn't have the physical ability, but he has very good off-speed pitches, and that spells trouble for a lot of the Cardinals' young hitters.
And Harang completes our Marshall Wireless starting pitching matchup. Schumacher fouls one off over the Cincinnati Red dugouts. Skip Schumacher, one of the few Cardinals that's swinging the bat well, averaged just over 300. He's a pesky hitter, isn't he?
He is, and it's remarkable changing from the outfield to second base. He's maintained that 300 average. Skip hasn't done much in this series, just 2 for 10.
Cardinals have 4 left-handers in their lineup against Harang. Schumacher, Rasmus in the second hole, and Keel also not swinging the bat very well of late, although he has a couple of doubles here in this
They've
series.
been late inning doubles.
Yeah.
You know, when the game's basically been decided, and you know, off a relief pitcher, he's getting the starts because of his numbers against the starter.
And a leadoff walk to Schumacher.
But
both clubs here tonight with 36 errors as a team. Nix, Dickerson, and Bruce in the outfield from left to right. Brandon Phillips, very good defensive player in second. They have a catcher playing first base and a catcher catching. Ryan Hannigan, the rookie, and Aaron Harang, the veteran right-hander, on the mound.
to me, that the Cardinals have to be careful against Harang with his very good changeup. Now Rasmus, it seems like of late, he's been an extra base hits. He's been wonderful in this series, going 5 for 10, and you know he's got the home run ball is going right now. That's not always the best thing for a young hitter.
I hear you. All of a sudden you start thinking home run every at bat. And Harang, as you mentioned, the kind of pitcher when your timing is off, maybe one of the worst kind of pitchers to face, because he does change speed so well, and he can just kind of make you get yourself out if your timing's not good.
He's a big guy, 6'7", 261, so he looks like he throws a lot harder, and he has a very effective changeup.
Schumacher not going. Another foul ball by Rasmus. 0-2 now to count to the Cardinal rookie. A lot of rookies on this team. Cardinals now have another rookie added to their roster. Jess Todd was promoted from AAA, where he had 11 saves for the Memphis Redbirds, and the Cardinals made a move.
Yes, out of the first player from the 2007 draft. He was a second-round pick that year out of Arkansas. He was the Cardinals minor league pitcher of the year a year ago, and they've converted him to the bullpen. He's supposed to have an excellent slider.
Not a real big guy.
No.
But has a very live arm, and the Cardinals' move was to send out Blaine Boyer, who was outstanding here yesterday. Both of us not real happy with that move, Al. They didn't really ask us.
Hey,
but
did a great job. Now we're sending you to Memphis, but there's one problem with that. He has to clear waivers. He's out of options, so some other club could select him. And with the performance he put in last night, he retired the last 10 in a row. Those 5 innings, a new career high for him, and saved the Cardinals bullpen, and got rewarded with
a demotion.
Well, we hope it's a demotion. Like I said, he has to clear waivers.
1-2 the count to Rasmus. Big hole on the right side, and Harang keeps Schumacher close. Skip just 1 for 3 in stolen bases on the season.
Kind of bunching in the outfield. They're playing fairly deep.
Giving them both lines. Rasmus has shown that occasional power. And chases a high one from Harang. That's his first strikeout. 1 out for the Redbirds here in the first inning. And we'll see Albert. A lot of clubs pitching around number 5. 17 intentional walks on the season already, and the Cardinals need to get some offense behind him, or managers like Dusty Baker are going to take the bat right out of his hand.
Well, I believe that Harang will go after him, you know, knowing that if I fall behind, I don't have to give in to him. I'm going to, you know, pitch around him at that time. But keep the ball in an area, challenge him, try to get the double play ball.
It's interesting that Albert has not hit Harang very well either. Batting average under 250, career against Harang, just 1 home run. So you'd almost think that the pitcher has a lead, maybe even more confidence, saying, I'm going to go right at it.
Whether it's a false sense of security, we aren't sure yet, but you know, there's respect. Working him away. And you know what you're talking about, and what everybody, you know, in the world sits there and goes, why would you ever allow him to beat you? Why even pitch to him? Now that pitch was on the inner part of the plate, but the catcher was setting up away, so you don't always hit your spots, and that's where he's still can be extremely dangerous. But until somebody establishes that they can hit behind him and protect him, there's no need to pitch to Albert.
1-1 to count to Albert. And time is called by the home plate umpire DJ Rayburn. Rayburn, the umpire behind the plate. Jim Joyce at first, Brian Runge at second, and Darrell Cousins. And we found out that these guys not afraid to make a call maybe that goes against the grain here. The pitch to Albert.
Well, you know,
low.
A couple of the calls.
You better get your tag down.
Well, a couple of the calls have been with this home plate umpire, you know, Rayburn, and he is a, you know, replacement or vacation umpire. So I think he will call the textbook a little bit closer than the others, because he's trying to make an impression and wants to do everything right.
Good pitch to hit here. Albert hits it on the left side. This should be 2. Phillips makes the turn, gets out of the way of the hard sliding Skip Schumacher. A couple of double plays here in the first inning. We're through 1 inning of play. Jay Bruce will hit next for the Reds. Five out-of-market games per week. For complete details, visit STLCardinals.com, where baseball is always on. Beautiful view of the arch, and it is a gorgeous night for baseball in downtown St. Louis. And you've got a great
degrees, right?
70 degrees, 71, I believe, at game time, and a great pitching matchup to boot, as Chris Carpenter works to Jay Bruce in the top of the second inning, strike 1.
Carpenter's on the mound. You better get in your seats early. Miss half the game.
Love pitchers that work quickly. That's ball hit hard to right field, but right at Ryan Ludwig, who catches it about chest high. Out number 1 for Cincinnati.
Carpenter back at it again. Throws strikes. He's got 4 outs and 9 pitches, or 10 pitches. They put up the 10th one.
One of the amazing things about Carpenter is the games that he's able to get 10+ strikeouts and still have a low pitch count. It's
right.
Very difficult to do that because you got to get work deep into the count to get 3 strikes on somebody.
Right, and of course he did that in the Milwaukee game.
Right.
8 shutout innings, and the reason he did it so efficiently is no walks.
Ramon Hernandez is a catcher by trade, been playing first base for Joey Votto, who's on the disabled list. He's been dealing with stress-related issues, and that's become the new injury in Major League Baseball, and a lot of folks are dealing with that.
But Ricky, how do you have a stress-related, disablement when you're batting .357, 8 home runs and 33 RBIs?
Seems like it'd be more stressful if you're hitting 190.
Like Khalil Green, is dealing with failure, has plagued him. But when you're Votto, he started with kind of some flu-like symptoms, and then he had to take himself out of a couple games, including one game after he hit 2 home runs. Got dizzy. And Khalil has got the support of all of his teammates.
He sure does. And that's important. Teammates understand, they know what you go through, and the pressure of competing at this level, and a lot of attention on these guys, and that certainly has only increased over time as every game televised. At the end of every game, you've got a lot of reporters to deal with, and every place you go, you're a big leaguer, and the pressure to compete and to stay at that level is high. Good breaking ball from Carpenter, misses.
People will tell you, a lot of highly talented athletes will tell you what motivates them is the fear of failure.
Right. Payoff pitch to Ramon Hernandez. Call, third strike right on the outside corner. Good location from Chris Carpenter, and he picks up his first strikeout. Ramon Hernandez not happy with that call from Mr. Rayburn.
I think when you look at it, the replay, you'll just see that he rears back and fires a quality pitch down in the zone, right, maybe on the corner, but too close to take. And that's Carpenter. He'll challenge you even when he's behind the count or making a money pitch.
Love that replay from our Hot Shots cam. Carpenter, so many effective pitches throughout the course of a game.
Well, Jason LaRue gave a Sky report on Nix, and one of the things he said is you've got to throw the ball in on him, the
right.
cutters and sliders in. That's a perfect scenario for Carpenter.
And there's that spot.
Cutter in, and then he threw a fastball in there. But the one thing I disagree with Jason, I mean, everything was down. A lot of Cardinal pitchers don't take advantage of the ball up out of the strike zone.
Good breaking ball from Carpenter.
And there's the curveball, much, rather than the cutter that running in. But Nix doesn't look quite as confident as he has earlier in this series.
I think it has something to do with number 29. Working with 2 outs here in the second. More defensive swings out of Lance Nix, who's been a good story for Cincinnati. Guy that was not even supposed to be on the roster. Played some with Milwaukee. Started out with Texas and thought maybe his career was going in the negative direction. Not only has he helped this club offensively, he's made 2 or 3 outstanding plays defensively against the Cardinals. Ball jammed off the bat of Nix and played by Ryan Ludwig again. 3 quick outs. We go to the bottom of the second. No score. NLCS, or the Indians battle the White Sox, or the Twins take on the Mariners. Fox Saturday baseball returns this week at 3 o'clock on Fox. Check local listings for the game in your area.
Ricky, I don't know, was it when they had the disabled list when you were playing, did they have the ability to go to a rehab, go down at that time, or was it straight 21 days, on the DL?
I think you could go down.
Yeah, okay, that was after. And
there were other there are other dates too. It seemed to me you could be on the 10-day or 7 or 10-day disabled list.
I think that was the minor leagues.
Well, I was there a long time, Al. That's why I remember it that way. And there was there was the 30-day.
There's the 60 days. Yeah, those kind of things. But I mean,
they've certainly made it different.
When I played it, if you went on the DL, it was 21 days.
Right.
Couldn't go down for rehab. But I don't understand why Ludwig did not go down for 2 or 3 games.
Well, I think it's a question you can also pose to Rick Ankiel.
Well, I think his was a little different because remember his was a little more prolonged, and it seemed like on a day-to-day basis we thought he was coming back, and then he did not, and then finally
and he was in Florida, at least taking at bats
right.
in an extended spring training atmosphere.
Sure.
Ball hit hard to right field. Is going to drop. It does in front of the right fielder, Bruce, and maybe we got something going here for Ryan Ludwig.
Well, I think it's just a matter of time, before he gets his stroke back. His timing was off after missing the 14 games. He was taking some batting practice, traveling with the club. Not a vicious hit, but sometimes ball players, the inside-out stroke, they talk about a slump buster.
You take it.
Where maybe it's that little flare or that little quail, a bleeder that goes through that, all of a sudden the hard hit balls that are caught, it's the little one that gets you going.
Breaks an 0 for 14 for Ryan Ludwig, who's got a small lead at first. Ankiel, the batter. Ankiel at 223. Al already mentioned the 2 hits that he's had in this series. Both times his last at-bat of the game, as his timing is also improving, but not quite there yet.
Yeah, they were doubles to left center off relief pitchers. He's only 2 for 12 in the series, those 2 doubles, and only 3 hits since he's come back off the disabled list. So really struggling against an off-speed pitcher. Anybody that could throw that changeup and keep it down and away is giving him a lot of problems.
Again, a tough matchup when you look at
yes.
Aaron Harang. 1-1 the count to the Cardinal left fielder.
Come in. I don't know why you do this unless you're really throwing a ball. Down there,
dangerous.
Down and in, and you drop the bat head. That you're doing a left-handed batter a favor. Throwing a power pitch, on the inside part to Rick right now is working in his swing.
Ball hit on the right side. Ludwig has to hold up. Ball goes in front of him. Base hit to right field for Ankiel. A couple of struggling Cardinals with base hits to lead off the second inning.
Yeah, it's good to
sign.
see that. Yeah, I mean, 87, he doesn't get it far enough away to where he wants it. You see him reaching down and in the middle, so it's really kind of in his wheelhouse. It's a ground ball that if it's a little bit more to the first or second baseman, it turns 2, but this one goes through.
We've had a lot of focus on the streaks of Ludwig and Ankiel and them having their difficulties with the bat, but Yadier Molina also 0 for 9.
Exactly, and he got 4 hits in the San Francisco series, but they're all 4 of them were singles. You're not getting any RBI production from the 4, 5, and 6.
Hannigan has seen Harang missed too many spots out to talk to him. Tough for a rookie to go out and talk to a veteran like that. Hannigan's having a really good season behind the plate. He's throwing well. He's hitting well. Leads all National League rookies with his batting average of .329. But he's got to go out there and tell the veteran, hey, let's go.
Right.
And our Toyota keys to the game.
I see the Cardinals with runners in scoring position. In April, they were outstanding. But look what's happened since then. Only 2-1 in 30 games since a brilliant April. The Cardinals led the National League in hitting in April. They got great starting pitching. There was something like 16-2 in the starting rotation. Then early in April, the starters really fell on hard times, and so did the offense. But then the starters have righted the ship along with the bullpen. The Cardinals still lead the major leagues in ERA, but very little run production.
Interesting, the Cardinals not bunting in this situation with Molina, a good bunter. That ball behind him almost hit him. Molina wasn't happy early this week when he got hit by a pitch, slammed his bat down. That ball actually, did it go behind him or over his head?
Well, they want to elevate the ball, but that just takes off and throws behind him, almost hits the bat. But
you've seen that before, where it hits the bat, comes fair, and all of a sudden you got an at bat. That's a bad day.
Yeah, you know when you're struggling then pitcher gets a gift. In this case, it'd be a double play, if not a triple play.
You'd have to think that a sacrifice would be at least an option here. The Cardinals having trouble scoring runs. Molina, a good, very good bunter. Chris Carpenter pitching. You know, runs are important.
I think Tony believes that Molina, when he is swinging the bat well, is one of his better RBI men. Problem is, if he hits anything on the ground, you know, they're going to get multiple outs. 3-1. You know, he does not strike out often. If you're really trying to jumpstart this offense, would you start the runners? You run in the risk of hitting into a triple play with the line drive, but it's one way to get things going.
And there they go, and that is ball 4 as Ludwig and Ankiel did take off. And Harang misses with the 3-1 pitch, and the Cardinals have the bases loaded, nobody out here in the second inning for Joe Thurston. Ludwig the runner at third. Ankiel with a base hit, the runner at second, and Molina walked behind them. Joe Thurston, who has swung the bat very well the last couple of days.
Yeah, he's 6 for 10 in this series. He had 3 for 3 with a walk on Monday night. He leads the ball club in doubles and also triples.
Seems to have made an adjustment on off-speed pitches. He's hitting them better. Of course, he's more of a fastball hitter than an off-speed hitter.
Usually what separates you between the big leagues and AAA.
A lot of AAA guys can hit the fastball. And there's a ball down the left field line, just foul.
Boy, they had the outfield swung all the way around to right field, so that would have been a base clearing. Probably, you know, it's hard to have a triple when you hit it to left field, but it probably would be, as you see the left fielder so far off the line. And that ball coming off the bat of a lefty would have sliced away. You can see there's a big gap even out in left center is they have the outfielders swung all the way around.
Thurston first ball swinging, and they're going to go up with him, and they do. That ball looped to the shortstop, and he's going to make that play as he breaks the bat. Infield fly. Thurston is retired for the first out, and now Chris Carpenter will hit with the bases loaded and 1 out.
Oh, it's one of those times when the batter batting 8th definitely works against you.
It'd be hard to maybe add that up over the course of a year and figure out, you know, pros and cons of that. Understand that Tony's actually gone back to that exclusively. At the beginning of the season, he felt like he did not have a guy that he could put in that number 9 spot who could serve as that second leadoff hitter.
Well, I think what happens a lot of times is he looks at what he thinks is the ability of his team offensively. Beginning of the season, coming out of spring training, they thought this team was going to score a lot of runs. So the pitcher's batting 9th. All of a sudden we get into May, team struggling, the pitcher's batting 8th.
Ball hit on the ground, could be 2 to Phillips and on to Hernandez. 6-4-3 double play. We've had 3 already. No score through 2.
too high.
That way, Calvin.
Thank you. You bet. Oh, I got that one. Straight four seamers. Yeah. A little cutter every once in a while.
Oh, you got to do it.
Cutter. Should. Never get used to that.
That's Cal Eldred in batting practice before the game, talking with Red Shane Easton. A lot of banter goes on during the course of a game, does it not, Mr. Roboski?
You and I have thrown batting practice.
Yeah.
And I probably did it for about 15 years after I was retired. And I used to love to do it because you could really see the weaknesses of hitters.
Absolutely.
You see where they like to hit the ball, where they have trouble. But every time I threw a natural cutter, they complain all the time, and he's out there trying to throw cutters. What's the story?
Watch out. The bat goes flying into the stands over the Reds dugout, and we hope everybody's okay. It slips out of the hands of Alex Gonzalez, leading off the top of the third.
Guys fighting for the bat, and then they realize that somebody may be hurt.
That is a dangerous situation when the bat goes up into the stands.
Happens so frequently today. It's amazing. They got gloves, they got the pine tar.
Number of smiles there in the area, so it looks like everybody is okay. Dusty Baker checking it out.
Everybody's smiling but the person that got hit.
And Carpenter behind Gonzalez, 3-1. Shortstop Gonzalez back in the lineup here tonight. Fouls one off. Full count now.
If it wasn't Gonzalez's debut, it was very close to it when he came up with the Marlins, and they thought enough of him to make Renteria available to the Cardinals. But he had a big offensive game, I know, at least early in his career.
Ball hit hard to center, but the play is made by Colby Rasmus, and he got a pretty good jump on that ball. That was not an easy play. The line drive right at you can be a tough one.
Yeah, it's one, but you watch him out here. It's coming off the bat, so it's going to kind of slice away from him. You see, he gets his body down low. You kind of get a better angle to whether that ball is going to take off and go over your head, or if it's going to have that sinking action. Dave McKay works daily with the outfielders, hitting fly balls, trying to get them to find the nuances of all the different ballparks. Out there toiling with the outfielders.
And he's had some work to do with Colby Rasmus, and you know, we love Colby. We think he's got a lot of talent and will be a Cardinal outfielder for a long time. But Dave McKay certainly dealing with him on the way he sometimes kind of, I guess I would say, saunters after balls, if I try to think of a nice word to say it. Very casual, and also his footwork when he's going to make a throw to a base, often catching the ball flat-footed, going backwards instead of having his momentum going towards the base. Again, something that you think he would learn. You'd also would have hoped he would have learned it before he got to the big league level.
Ricky, you and I have both seen, and you have been a pitching coach in the minor league system before. And, you know, a lot of time those top draft choices, a lot of the managers and coaches in minor leagues are a little bit reluctant to kind of criticize them, and they need it as much, if not more, than, you know, a 25th rounder.
That is part of their development.
Sure.
You're talking about developing a player. You're developing their mental toughness. You're developing their skills, certainly. 3-1 now the count to Hannigan. And Carpenter, even when he gets behind somebody, he doesn't give in. He comes right back at you. He says, let's see if you can hit it. He got behind Gonzalez, and he threw him a 3-2 pitch right down central, and he got an out.
Remember, he got Ramon Hernandez threw a quality pitch on a 3-2 pitch, got his first strikeout. Defensive swing, just trying to get a piece of it, stay up there. That's why it's so amazing. You know, we can't say enough about Albert Pujols, but when you have a superstar that works as hard as he does, it sets the tone for everybody else.
Tough play for Ryan. Very quick hands. Takes care of Hannigan. And another fine play for the Cardinals shortstop. Get St. Louis's 2 favorite destinations for one great price with the Cardinals Six Flags double play combo. For just $50, you'll get a ticket to a 2009 Cardinals game and an adult ticket to Six Flags St. Louis. Get your double play combo today at STLCardinals.com. Brendan Ryan has been outstanding defensively over the last couple of weeks. He has quick hands, quick feet. And I think he's solidified the defensive play of this Redbird club. I think it's been contagious.
Well, I think he also, he plays with a high degree of energy, so it kind of rubs off a little bit. Kendo and other coaches trying to get him to play under control, and that just comes with more playing time. Bit high with the breaking ball.
That's not fair. Throwing that curveball to a pitcher.
So many times we always, and rightfully so, give Kendo so much credit, but Pacini's right there with him.
Defensive swing by Harang. Thurston takes care of him. He's faced the minimum through 3. No score. Downtown St. Louis. Great site for Major League Baseball. No traffic today. How about that? After the game, you can watch Cardinals live from the Aqua Bar at Lumiere Place Casino. Watch player interviews and Tony La Russa plus Pat Paris and yours truly. We'll be breaking down the game. U.S. Cellular Cardinals live after the game on Fox Sports Midwest.
You got a police escort over there?
Yes, I do.
Lumiere Place?
Just tell them I know you, Al, and I can get around this town pretty easily.
Or you might make a stop. And the headquarters.
Aaron Harang begins his 3rd inning of work. And Ryan, first ball swinging. Strike 1 before the game. We had Brendan Ryan working with Mike Aldretti. Is he listening?
Well, he's listening, but is it going in one ear or not the other? No,
we tease Brendan,
we
but
do.
You got to know him, though.
We tease him, but he's also one of our favorites. And, what I've always thought is when the coaches stop talking to me is when they've given up on me.
Right.
They still talk to you, they're still trying to teach you and trying to help you.
He's respectful. He's full of energy. He's just not always tracking you. Al, that's the way I would describe Brendan. There's a strike on the outside corner. Harang takes care of the Cardinal shortstop.
drop down a little bit more. Just kind of throws it out there, and Brendan didn't think it was a strike, but I thought it was.
Couldn't hit it. Perfect location.
Fouled off. Stay up there somehow.
Schumacher walked leading off the game. Hits with 1 out.
You know, Ricky, I talked to Brendan at times, and sometimes he's the butt of some of his teammates' jokes, and you know, he kind of worry. But he even sits there and he goes, you know, I know my role in this team, and sometimes I have to be that person, take the pressure off of other people that can't handle it.
Well, he does not mind the attention.
That's what I'm saying.
For sure.
Yeah, but he understands that, you know, there's that role where everybody, you know, he can loosen other people up.
Comic relief.
Comic relief. The personalities that you see on a ball club. You know, how do you throw 25 guys together? You know, different race, religion,
socioeconomic backgrounds.
Right. Thank you.
I knew where you were going with that.
Virginia education. But
you got guys from California and Colombia, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. Language is an issue, and in some cases, age is an issue. You've got
absolutely.
You may have a player in his late 30s, maybe even 40, playing with a young kid.
Well, I go back to George Brett. George Brett told me, you know, we were teammates, but you know, he got married when he was 37. His last year in pro baseball, he led the team in home runs and RBIs, but he said, I had nothing in common with my young teammates.
There's a base hit to left field for Schumacher. Beautiful swing for Skip as he takes the ball the other way, and he picks up the Cardinals' 3rd hit of the evening.
Skip is very good at going to the opposite field, and there's a lot of base hits out there, and you can scatter it around. You know, we were different type pitchers, but if I had a dead pull hitter, he was easy to pitch to. If you had somebody that used all the field, you couldn't stay in one location. You had to move the ball around a little bit, but you had a lot more respect for him.
That's our Hot Shots view of the swing of Skip Schumacher. His average continues to climb. Colby Rasmus struck out in the 1st inning. One of 2 Aaron Harang punch-outs on the night.
Chased a ball up out of the strike zone. That's a pitcher's pitch.
What you love about the battle between pitcher and catcher is they both remember that. And so the pitcher is thinking, well, if I get him 2 strikes, do I go up there again? Of course, the hitter's thinking, he got me that on that last time, so I'm going to look for something different this time. And that's that great battle that we love.
That's what I was talking about with Jason LaRue. You know, he's talking about how you got to go down, down, down. Sure, that's a great way to pitch, but there's a lot of outs up out of the strike zone too.
Popped into shallow left field. The shortstop Gonzalez handles it. North Star is making this Sunday extra special with ice cream sundaes, beginning 2 hours prior to the game in the Ford Plaza. Join us for music, fun, games, and don't forget free ice cream. Wow, that sounds good. While supplies last, North Star ice cream sundaes. Albert Pujols bounced into a 5-4-3 double play. Hits with 2 outs. And at least you like to see him hitting with a runner on base.
Right, and we'll see if his recent trend continues.
Ball hit hard to center field. Back goes Dickerson, but he can't go back far enough. 2-run home run for Albert Pujols. He crushed that ball to center field. Home run number 17 for Albert.
You know what a great hitter he is, but you've got to question, why is he given such a pitch that he can hit so hard? There's 2 outs. This is the only guy that you fear in the Cardinal lineup right now, and you allow him to hit a 2-run home run. Definitely a mistake.
Well, you mentioned that maybe Harang didn't have enough fear for Albert since he pitched well to him in the past, and he just challenged him with that first pitch.
Well, he missed location. Hannigan again set up outside, that ball right down the middle, and give Albert credit that he's ready for any strike he sees because he knows he's not going to see a lot.
Albert excites the crowd here at Busch Stadium. A lot of buzzing going on here.
Go get him, Carpenter.
There's your runs, big boy.
How many times did you ever hear that? You know, usually on a solo shot and say, okay, there's your run. Go get him.
Bob Force used to say some guys get all the runs. Some guys get 8, 9, and then he would say, as his corollary to that, some guys need them.
You're right.
Some guys don't. Chris Carpenter generally doesn't. We'll see if he can let this 2-0 lead stand. Chris Carpenter's been outstanding all season long. He's such a competitor. And up until that shot, we've had perfect pitching from both pitchers. Hard shot handled by Gonzalez. Nice play. Spins around and throws out Ryan Ludwig, and he hits the ball hard. Maybe something going well for Ryan Ludwig. 2-0 Cardinals. Cardinals are 11-2 when Albert Pujols homers, and he did just that here in the bottom of the third inning to give Chris Carpenter a 2-0 lead. And it was home run number 17 for Albert, and it went 431 feet. First pitch hit on the ground to Brendan Ryan, and he takes care of Jerry Hairston. And one pitch, one out, and let's go back to that home run swing.
Well, Ricky,
for number 5.
Very few things you can do in baseball or any sports without balance. And we always talk about the lower half, how much everything's in sync. Look at the balance right there. And straight up, his head it doesn't move. There's very little movement in the upper body versus the lower body. Everything is in sync. Everything is balanced.
There's a base hit to center field, a looping liner off the bat of Chris Dickerson, and that's the second hit for the Reds here tonight, and he has both of them.
Right.
And again, first ball swinging. Cincinnati Reds, even though they're down 2-0, they are just up hacking. They do not want Chris Carpenter to get ahead in the count.
Well, just look at this inning. Hairston swings at the first pitch, it's an out. Then Dickerson swings at the first pitch, it's a base hit. But you've got the same scenario that Phillips now can hit into another double play like he did in the first inning. But Carpenter's out there. Very few times is that first pitch put into play. And even more rare is it a base hit.
I think often people want teams to stop swinging the bat once you get down, but often that is taken as a sign of defensiveness by the team with the lead, and all of a sudden you start to bury them and just bury them with strikes, get ahead, and then hitting gets worse. Cardinal defense plays Brandon Phillips deep in the outfield from left to right. That's Ankiel, Rasmussen, Ludwig here tonight for Chris Carpenter.
And Carpenter knows he's going to go out there and he's going to, throw strikes. They're great pitchers. You never could really appreciate them until they had a couple guys on base because they were pitching to contact. They were trying to let the guy make an out. When they got, a couple guys on, then all of a sudden they dialed in the fastball, had another foot on it. The breaking ball was much sharper, because they were not going to let you score.
There goes the runner, fouled off the plate by Brandon Phillips as Dickerson takes off. Dickerson does have 2 stolen bases.
Well, it's more of a reflection of Carpenter that he's going to throw ground balls. So, you know, Phillips hit into a ground ball the first time, a double play. This time, trying to avoid that. They know Molina has a gun.
And Carpenter's quick to the plate, as quick as anybody.
Yep, but you got a guy that's a pretty good contact hitter in Phillips. And, you know, might as well send that runner so they can avoid the double play.
Let's see if he goes 1-1. He's not. Swing and a miss.
And see that, how much sharper that breaking pitch was? Cutter right there, just, you know, burying it down and away.
You talked about the balance of Albert's swing. Very off balance there was Brandon Phillips. He was on his front foot. Ball sliding away from him, and he just could not keep his weight back.
Swinging at the fastball, and he got the cutter.
Medium lead for Dickerson. Not going again. This ball hit on the ground to third. Thurston to Schumacher. And another Cardinal double play. They've turned 2 of them. Cardinals lead the Reds through 3 1/2, 2-0. And this backpack will be distributed to kids prior to the June 7th game against Colorado. To purchase tickets, visit stlcardinals.com. Cardinal fans happy here so far as Albert Pujols has staked the home club to a 2-0 lead, and Chris Carpenter sailing right along, and first pitch is boxed by the catcher Ryan Hannigan. I think he was looking for something different there as he barely got a glove on that pitch from Aaron Harang, who's been pretty good here tonight. The 2-run homer to Albert, the only blemish on his resume.
And he's had 2 double plays turned behind him.
4 total in this game.
Yeah, the Cardinals escaped, or excuse me, the Reds escaped a bases loaded, nobody out scenario as Ludwig and Ankiel opened up the second frame with base hits. Yachty walked, and a pop up and a double play got him out of that inning.
Ankiel had the ground ball base hit to the right side in that second inning following the Ludwig single. And Ludwig had another nice at bat to end the third. He hit it right at the shortstop, Gonzalez.
Gonzalez made a nice play on that with a bad, tricky hop.
And we'll see if Ankiel can put together back-to-back good at bats here for the Redbirds. And this game thus far not really following suit of the first 3 games of this series, which was all about guys coming in early from the bullpen and pitching outstanding. This ball hit hard to center field. Back goes Dickerson to the track, to the wall, and makes the play right in front of the center field wall, 400 feet from home plate.
But
Anfield gave that a charge.
Yeah, he hit that ball cleanly. Watch Dickerson go back. He'll feel for the wall. You know, you can feel the transition from grass to warning track underneath your feet. So you kind of know you're getting close there, but he wasn't going to take his eye off it. You know, he's tracking it down and feel for it. But I think right now Rick's had 2 good at bats.
Absolutely. Yadier Molina walked and takes strike 1 from Harang. He walked to load the bases in that second inning, and Thurston popped out to the shortstop. Then an inning-ending double play off the bat of Chris Carpenter ended the Cardinal threat there in the second inning.
We kind of signaled out the Cardinal outfielders in last night's game for lack of production, but got to get Molina going also.
Absolutely.
You know, you look at, you know, everybody's talking so much about third base and lack of production. There's a good sign.
There's a hitting coach working with him.
Well,
you think he's trying to figure out Yadi's stance there?
Yeah, but Pinheiro had a good bullpen session today, and he's in line for the start on Sunday.
That was good news, Al.
Yeah, because
more good news, by the way. We have a baseball fun fact coming right around the corner. How about that?
Well, we'll determine whether that's good news or not.
You know, it's kind of scary actually when pitchers are talking about hitting. Hitters aren't going to listen to them.
No, but it's nice when they talk about hitting because their pitching does the talking for them.
Exactly. 0-2 the count to Molina, and this ball hit. Nice play back from the backhand. The third baseman Hairston Jr. throws out Yadier Molina. How about that play defensively, and a nice play at first base by Hernandez to pick it out of the dirt.
I mean, there's a nice play here. He rushes his throw. He really didn't even have to do that, and makes it very difficult for Hernandez at the other end. But a good play, and this is a pretty airtight defense. When you think about Harrison and Gonzalez and Phillips, a Gold Glove winner at second base last year, and they're getting a lot of help from their catcher turned first baseman, Hernandez at first.
Pitching and defense, the way the game is supposed to be played. Strike 1 on the outside corner to Joe Thurston. Thurston was jammed in his 1 plate appearance, popping out with the bases loaded, stranding 3 runners there, but he has been swinging the bat much better lately after a great April. And there's another case of the fake bunt, Al, with 2 outs.
I was about to say, you know, that, you know, we have singled out the problems at third base, where we got an awful lot of production from Thurston and Barden in April. They are not that good, and they're not as bad as they were in May.
Right.
And Thurston has been swinging a good bat here early in June. But, you know, these guys were, you know, they're spare parts. It's the Duncans, the Ankiels, the Ludwigs, the Molinas. Those are the guys that are supposed to carry and offer the protection for Albert. And these guys are just supposed to contribute.
Barden and Thurston certainly did set those bars pretty high in April. They were so
sure
good.
did.
But what they really did is they kept the Cardinals really in it at that time.
But it was a very good offensive team, and they just were contributors.
And Thurston bounces out. Jay Bruce leads off for the Reds, 2-0 Cardinals. Browns became the Baltimore Orioles. That was 1954. The new owners threw the old uniforms out into the street, Al.
I'm sure
you didn't know that, did you?
There's a lot of still Brownie fans in this town. They even have their own little society, and a lot of the old Brownies are still living in St. Louis. See some of them occasionally.
Credit Keith O'Brien with coming up with those baseball fun facts on a regular basis. He does a great job researching those and trying to add a little color to this game of baseball.
What baseball owner has is his uniform. His uniform in the Hall of Fame.
I do know the answer to that. I got a little help, but I know the answer to that. And that's a great story.
Yes, it is. So who is it?
It's the Cardinal owner.
That's right.
Mr. DeWitt.
Bill DeWitt Jr. was the bat boy for the Browns when Bill Veeck employed Eddie Goodell, the midget.
Ball hit into center field. Raspman has to go a ways to get it to the warning track, but
they didn't have a uniform small enough for Eddie Goodell, so they used the Bat Boys uniform, and that was Bill DeWitt Jr.'s uniform. His father and family owned the St. Louis Browns, and so after that one at bat, and the commissioner said nope, voided the contract, and that uniform ended up in the Hall of Fame.
Longtime dear friend Jim Delsing was in that game, St. Louis.
He was the pinch runner for Eddie Goodell.
One out for Carpenter, who has been outstanding thus far. Misses with the cutter. 1-0 to Ramon Hernandez. Hernandez was called out on strikes in the second inning. Carpenter with just one strikeout, but no walks. That key stat that you mentioned, Al, and there's a big swing there and a fastball up and in.
Here we are, 4 1/3 innings, and a 1-1 count on the batter, and he's thrown 50 pitches.
Fastball just misses, and we talk about the demeanor of Chris Carpenter and the bulldog kind of attitude that he has. He's a bulldog, but he's not real demonstrative on the mound. You don't see a lot of expression from him.
Have to. You didn't have to give up many base runners. So, but I mean, the thing is he leads by example. You know, other pitchers just watch him and how he goes about his business. He's quiet, but he's thorough. He's complete. He just goes and attacks hitters. Very confident in what he does out there.
2-2 pitch misses, and another full count. Again, no walks thus far for Chris Carpenter. And he's given up just 2 hits, both of those to Chris Dickerson. And there's the ball beat on the ground to Ryan. He short hops it. Tough play. And he throws out Ramon Hernandez for the second out here in the 5th inning.
Good example there, you know, of being aggressive, and then you can determine which hop. He gets the short hop there, but instead of laying back on it, you know, he gets the hop that he wants. So keep the glove down. It's much easier to bring it up than to go back down.
Something about the way a shortstop plays this game. They are just a lot more graceful than any other position players. There's something about the way they field the ball, the way they move, the way they contort their body. We've seen the great ones here in St. Louis. Dal Maxfield, outstanding defensive shortstop. Ozzie Smith, perhaps the best in the history of this game. Ball hit the left field. Chris Carpenter gets himself another 1-2-3 inning as Rick Ankiel takes care of that. Carpenter will lead off for the Redbirds next. Porsche wins game 100 in his career by beating Dave Stewart and the Dodgers 5-2. Bob Forsch, one of the top pitchers in the history of the Cardinal organization.
He's third on the all-time win list. And I got to see Bob Forsch when he was the third baseman.
You didn't play with him?
Yes, I did.
You did?
Yeah, when he was the third baseman in Modesto, California.
Very good hitting pitcher in the big leagues. 1-0 the count to Carpenter, and that's
I also saw why he became a pitcher.
Yeah, he couldn't hit the curveball, I'm betting.
Fielding was a challenge too, but
interesting.
But no, I mean Bobby just, boy, you talk about a guy that taught a lot of you guys how to play the game both on and off the field.
Great teacher. It's one thing to have a teacher who actually has the title coach or manager in a club, but you have to have the veteran guys that are teachers out in the bullpen and in the bus, on the bus trips and on the airplane and during batting practice. And Bob Forsch was one of the best at that. 1-2 to Carpenter. And at some point with Chris Carpenter, Al, don't you just want to not see him swing the bat? Aren't you just happy?
You sound like Dan, and we miss Dan, but Dan goes,
I did that in honor of Dan. Dan told me to ask you that question.
And what we're referencing is he was on the disabled list with an oblique strain. If you're a right-hander, it's going to be your left side and vice versa, but he did it swinging the bat.
Even watching him take batting practice before the game here, I had that same wincing feeling of, boy.
He is not an accomplished hitter.
No. And so what does he do? Hits the ball deep in the hole. I don't know if he can beat it out, nor should he try. As another great defensive play by the shortstop, Gonzalez. Big win this afternoon. Randy Johnson, game one of a doubleheader in Washington, picks up victory number 300. Kudos to the big unit.
Yeah, not only that, but sometimes a guy kind of backs into a 300 win. Not Randy today. He gave up 6 innings. He only allowed 1 run, if I saw it right. And so congratulations. 300 and 164. Now that's a great winning percentage.
I think that qualifies you for Cooperstown.
Because of that winning percentage, and remember he's lost a couple of years because of back issues. That
and
would have come a lot.
300 is kind of that magic number too.
Yeah. And he may be the last for quite a while, if ever.
Brendan Ryan takes a pretty good breaking ball from Harang. I'm not sure where that pitch was. 1-1 the count to Brendan Ryan. He struck out looking in the 3rd inning. And the Cardinals have managed just 4 hits, but they do have a couple of runs thanks to Albert Pujols. As Ryan tries to bunt.
Hit him in the batter's box.
And if he does bunt the ball and takes a step out of the box and the ball comes up and hits him, but it does hit him before he's out of the box, so it's a foul ball. If it hits him in fair territory, he's out. 1-2 the count to Brendan Ryan. Open stance. And he's battling Mr. Harang. 2 runs and 4 hits for the Cardinals. They've left 2 runners. No runs, 2 hits for Cincinnati.
Interesting you say hits with the open stance, and remember he always lifts his front shoulder, trying to tell himself to keep the front shoulder in. Don't let it fly open.
I remember when that was the weirdest thing we thought he did. That's not even the top 10, Al. 1-2 the count to Ryan, and just misses outside.
I wonder, were you on the team when Rex Hudler was here?
Oh yeah.
Do you think we can get him to eat a bug?
Yeah, I would say we could.
Yeah,
that's a great story. Rex eating a bug, and he got a little money for doing that during a blowout game, if I remember. A few players gave him some money to do it.
Of course, today it would be thousands of dollars.
I think it was hundreds, if I remember.
It was hundreds then.
I think Pagnozzi had something to do with that.
But it would be thousands in today's economy.
And I think you could probably get Brendan Ryan to do it for free if you asked him in the right time. Unless I miss my guess.
He might pay the guys to set it up if we put it on TV.
2-2 the count to Brendan Ryan.
like the facial art?
Well, I don't think, I guess I'd say it looks good on him. I'll just leave it at that. Flare to right field, but it will be handled by Bruce for out number 2 as Ryan tried to go the other way with a pitch down and away. And Skip Schumacher will hit with 2 outs and nobody on. Skip walked in the first, singled and scored ahead of the Pujols home run in the 3rd inning. And that base hit, we liked that base hit, but we saw it as Schumacher as he went the other way on a pitch down and away from Harang.
They bunch him in the outfield. I just saw Dickerson, the center fielder, kind of move back towards center and maybe even slightly to the opposite field. So they'll pitch him in.
We talked about this game being different than what we've seen thus far this series. Mike Lincoln had the great relief outing, then Brad Thompson, then Blaine Boyer, who was sent out today. Cardinals with a new reliever in the bullpen, and Jess Todd. Schumacher is jammed, and Hernandez will handle it himself. We got into the 6th inning. It's 2-0 Cardinals.
Fastest 3G network, AT&T, your world delivered.
Carpenter's faster.
He is faster. 1 pitch, 1 out. Alex Gonzalez bounces out, and Carpenter is working very quickly and efficiently.
He goes up there and he makes his pitches. They keep on grounding out. So, you know, every 3 or 4 first pitch outs, they get a base hit. I'll take that ratio. As long as they're singles, only allowed 2 tonight. And both have been erased on a double play.
Baseball is not normally one of the sports where you can talk about a player controlling the pace of a game. You think about that in basketball, and maybe they can do that in football and soccer and other sports, but Carpenter seems to do that. The game seems to revolve around his pace, which is typically pretty quick.
Well, Ricky, we've seen a lot of pitchers attempt to do it, and very few can. Carpenter can do it, and it's surprising that the Reds don't step out or try to change that tempo.
Well, what he's able to do, and you think about the great statement John Wooden used to make about being quick but not hurrying, and you get the sense of, you know, everything you do is quick, but it's slowed down in your mind. I think when some pitchers try to do that, Al, it just gets all blurry to them, and they don't make good quality pitches, and Carpenter certainly does. And there's another one. Good breaking ball. Takes care of Ryan Hannigan, the rookie catcher for the Reds. Strikeout number 2 for Chris Carpenter. Aflac trivia question. Name the 2 future Hall of Famers that played in the 1990 World Series.
Aflac.
2 big names, Rickey Henderson and Dennis Eckersley.
One's in the Hall of Fame. The other one will be. When's Rickey up?
Ball hit on the right side. Albert takes care of Harang. Another very quick inning for Carpenter. Rasmus, Pujols, and Ludwig. When we come back. Rockies come into St. Louis. It'll be tomorrow, 6:30, Fox Sports Midwest. And they've got a new manager. Jim Tracy taking over for Clint Hurdle. And Ryan Ludwig has had a very nice career against the Rockies, and he's had a couple of good at-bats here tonight. But the star of this game has certainly been Mr. Carpenter. Just 2 Cincinnati Red hits, both by Chris Dickerson. And he has faced the minimum through 6 innings, as Dickerson was erased twice on double plays, and Chris Carpenter has been outstanding. And another baseball fun quote, Branch Rickey talking about Leo DeRocher. He could take a bad situation and make it immediately worse. Leo the Lip.
I was in the league when Leo was managing the Cubs. I remember one time he went out to the mound and made a pitching change. The only problem is the guy that he wanted to bring in wasn't warming up, and he brought him in anyway.
That'll teach him.
Yeah.
Pop up behind home plate. And this is going to get out of play. Rasmus has a new life. Rasmus struck out and popped out. He was average at 245.
I know you've heard some of the old stories of the baseball stories about Ted Savage
he's got
and
great
Lee
stories.
Thomas talking about playing for Leo DeRocher.
Let's just call him an authoritarian.
They hated Leo and Leo hated them.
And he was happy with that. That's just the way he wanted it to be. Rasmus trying to get aboard in front of Albert Pujols. Give the Cardinals a little bit more of a lead, and he does just that. He laces a single to left field. Past the third baseman, Hairston. And Rasmus a leadoff base hit here in the 6th. Cardinal fans stop into the Schnucks nearest you, located at either Hampton Avenue or Clayton Road, on Saturday, June 6th from 10:30 to 12:30, and meet a member of the St. Louis Cardinals. For more information, visit schnucks.com.
I saw that Kyle McClellan is going to be at, I believe, the Clayton Road, and Chris Perez is going to be at the other one. I think 10:30 to 12:30 on Saturday.
Albert already has a 2-run homer. And a line drive to left field. Is it going to get out? No, but it's off the wall. Rasmus rounds third. Oquendo sends him home, and the Cardinals lead 3-0. Albert Pujols with his 3rd RBI of the night and his 48th of the season.
Why? Why?
There's your question again, Al.
Look where he's set up. He's set up outside. Another pitch that he misses location, but he gets on top of the high delivery, and that ball got out, and this time it gets over the head of Nix and was Rasmus flying.
And as good an outfielder as Nix is, and as good as he's played against the Cardinals, he had no chance to react to that ball. He was playing deep on Albert. He's reached base at least twice in his last 15 games.
Well, the difference is most of the time in those 15 games has been via the walk. But, you know, that ties Simmons, and I guess the longest
Pete Rose.
has been Pete Rose at 20, and back in the early 80s or so.
Swing and a miss by Ludwig. You'd almost think that number would be higher, but to get on base twice every single game for 20 straight games, I guess isn't easy. Pete Rose did it. Now Albert has done it 15 times in a row, and he's chasing Pete Rose. Ludwig with 2 good at-bats so far tonight. A base hit in the 2nd, and he hit a hard shot to the shortstop. And he was retired to end the 3rd inning, and Aaron Harang starting to labor a bit.
And the Cardinals can go back into first place tie with Milwaukee as they lost today to the Marlins 4-3.
Marlin fans today. 1-1 the count to Ludwig. There's a line drive to the second baseman. He one-hops it, takes Albert back, and then throws the ball away, and Ludwig is safe at first as Albert bothers Brandon Phillips. And the result, E4 and Cardinals at the corner.
That's a Gold Glover at second base. Does a nifty job to stay in front of this ball. He's going to make sure it doesn't get through him. But then Albert kind of jockeying there, and then he got him off stride. And it kind of a casual throw. Luckily, it hit for the Reds. It hit Ludwig on the foot and didn't go all the way towards the dugout. Could have been interesting if it goes to the dugout and the catcher has to go retrieve it. Who's at home plate for Albert trying to score?
You could see Phillips mouthing "my bad," and he didn't get an argument from Aaron Harang.
And Rick swinging the bat well here.
Harang comes set. The first pitch to Ankiel goes away and misses away. Ankiel hit a ball as deep as you can hit it in the 4th inning, backed up Dickerson to the center field fence. Jammed there by Harang. Cardinals with runners at first and third. They now have a 3-0 lead. Albert has been the offense here tonight. 3 runs on 6 hits for the Cardinals.
Whatever it is, that Rick looks like 100% improvement.
He sure does.
Where he's been the last week or so.
Swing and a miss. Particularly has looked bad against left-handers since he's come back.
I just think anybody that can throw a real good off-speed pitch down and away, particularly the changeup, you know, has his number right now. You can elevate the fastball on him too.
Like they're going fastball in 1 and 2.
Maybe doing him a favor. Breaking ball. Wasn't a real good one either.
Ankiel's job here just to drive something into the outfield to get the runner home from third. Situational hitting here for Ankiel.
Usually talking about such a great changeup, and we haven't seen many. Just a sinker away. He's not had good command, and he has not been able to get the ball down consistently either. Sometimes it can be a plus up out of the strike zone.
2-2 the count to Ankiel.
I do that sinker, but it's not moving much.
little flat. It's just moving on one plane. It's not sinking down. 3-2 now the count. Ludwig the runner at first. Pujols the runner at third.
And again, before he puts down the one, he'll do that little circle indicating the sinker. Slider coming in on him.
Swing and a miss by Ankiel as he swings right through a high breaking ball from Harang, and that was not a well-located pitch.
But you know, it was what made it an effective pitch is it's up and it's away, and you know it's just bad enough to get away with it to make it an effective pitch.
Well, Harang did not have a good outing his last outing. He lost to the Milwaukee Brewers 9-5 on Saturday. Gave up 8 runs on 12 hits in that game.
Three home runs, produced 8 of those runs.
He is making his 200th career start here tonight in St. Louis, and 20 of them have been against the St. Louis Cardinals. So they know each other.
Yeah, when he makes good pitches, you know, he can get you out. But you know, when he doesn't have good command, he doesn't have the ability to really throw the ball by you. And for a team that is very vulnerable to the changeup, we haven't seen much of those tonight, and that's one of his best pitches.
Like he doesn't have the feel of that either.
Kind of a field pitch.
Molina 0 for 1 with a walk. He's 0 for his last 10. And he fouls off the first pitch. His timing's been a bit off as well.
Ricky, you know, I mean, we talk about Harang as 6'7", and last year he got into a situation where they had like a 16, 18 inning game, and he came into that game in relief and really pitched well through, you know, 98 miles an hour. Really upped his velocity. Had some elbow issues afterwards.
Molina hits the ball to the second baseman Phillips, and he's going to flip to short and on to first, and an inning-ending double play. But Albert adds to the Cardinals' lead. It's 3-0 through 6. By AT&T. Switch to the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Chris Carpenter has been outstanding through 6 innings. The pitch count at just 63.
Yeah, the funny thing is the third inning threw the most pitches, 17. It was a 1-2-3 inning for him with the 7, 8, and 9 hitters, and he took him the most pitches.
Wonder if he's worked up a sweat yet. I'm sure he has.
I'm sure he has, but he doesn't look it.
Ball hit on the ground is short. Ryan again smoothly across the diamond to Albert. And 1 out here in the 7th inning, and Chris Carpenter continues to mow him down. The Cardinals Fox Sports Midwest broadcast team will be calling play-by-play live from the Champions Club on Wednesday, June 17th, when the Cardinals host the Dodgers. Al, myself, Dan McLaughlin, will be out at the Champions Club to broadcast the entire game from Busch Stadium's most popular all-inclusive club. The Champions Club includes a full upscale buffet, 2 full service bars, and a great view of the game from the third base suite level. Great tickets still remain for that game at stlcardinals.com. That'll be fun, Al.
Yeah, we're going to have you help us out, so we can have one of us take the time off and meet and greet all the fans.
It'll be a fun night as Carpenter takes care of Chris Dickerson for the first time. 4-3. He has the 2 hits for the Reds. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. 4 pitches, 2 outs here in the 7th inning, and at some point, Al, even if we think that you should be swinging at the first pitch to stay aggressive, you're in the 7th inning of a game. The other guy's mowing you down. Don't you have to step out, try to maybe take a few pitches?
Well, or you change the tempo, and he's dictating the pace of the game, and you're trying to slow him up a little bit. Maybe don't swing until you get 2 strikes.
That might change the tempo. Brandon Phillips won't do what he's done the first 2 at-bats. That was hit into double plays as he hits with nobody on here and jumps out of the way of a nasty breaking ball from Chris Carpenter. 0-2 on Brandon Phillips. Very uncomfortable approach there.
Yeah, look at that breaking ball. He just starts backing up and breaks over the plate. Called strike. 0-2. Now their curveball, didn't want it, slider.
And the pitch. Hit outside. That jelly leg that we saw from Brandon Phillips. We've seen guys do that to set up pitchers. Jim Edmonds was really good at that, and Willie McGee, I think, sometimes set up pitchers. George Hendrick would do it, but I don't think that's what Phillips was doing.
I'm not too sure that Willie did it.
You think he just made the adjustment?
Well, Whitey used to tell me, he said, how dumb pitchers are. He said they throw one over Willie's head, he swings at it. Throw one in the dirt, he swings at it, and then they groove one, and he hits a BB.
Willie had some great years, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Still
he was
an
fun to
all-time
watch.
favorite for many St. Louis Cardinal fans.
No doubt about
Number 51.
Doesn't want that curveball. He wants the slider.
And we see why as he takes care of Brandon Phillips. 3 up, 3 down for Cincinnati. They're gone in the 7th. 3-0 Cardinals. Infinity. It's been all Chris Carpenter and Albert Pujols who contributed a 2-run home run as well as a RBI double, but Chris Carpenter's been outstanding as he's thrown just 72 pitches through 7 innings of work. And he's given the Cardinals a 3-0 lead as they hit here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And Joe Thurston, first ball hitting as well, pops up to the shortstop, and he'll take care of Thurston for the first out. And the Cardinals now following suit, Al, and swinging at the first pitch as well. And this has been a very well played game, and I think part of it is the pitchers throwing strikes.
No doubt about it.
And part of it is guys up there swinging the bat.
You know how much we look forward to the matchup. Whoever Chris Carpenter's facing, we know we're going to get that really good effort, and the Cardinals are going to have a great chance to win. I think he translates that to his entire team. All the fielders know that they really got to be on their toes because there's going to be a lot of first ball hittings. He's throwing strikes. Struck out 3. He's got 11 ground ball outs, and that makes you think, why swing the bat?
It was an odd-looking swing from Carpenter. I think he was more disappointed in the way he swung than he was hurt by it. As he's smiling, but with his reaction, you wonder.
Well, he gets kind of jammed a little bit like this, but you see that, and you're going, why swing the bat? It wasn't like, oh, I missed it.
Dan would be happy we're talking about that. 1-1, and takes the fastball high. Tony West was woken up on this pitch before, Al.
Right.
Handling our camera behind home plate.
He's inside that little camera right there.
He does a great job.
He really does.
Under tough working conditions inside that camera.
He's really a giant of a photographer, too.
How about that? Chris Carpenter with a base hit into the left field corner, and Chris Carpenter gets his first hit.
Think we ought to get a pinch runner for him?
No. Just let him stay right there.
Well, same pitch that he swung awkwardly on. Now he gets by the third baseman Harrison down in the left field corner, and he has his first hit of the season.
Now is where you go station to station now. This season against the Reds, Chris Carpenter and Albert Pujols. Pujols 7 for 24, 2 homers, but Chris Carpenter with this start tonight continues to pitch well against this historic franchise. That's one of the things I like about it when the Reds and teams like the Dodgers are in town. You're talking about clubs that have rich tradition.
Well, sure. I mean,
great players in their history.
I think the Cardinals recognize 1892 as the year of their existence, and the Reds, I believe, are 1882. The oldest.
The Red Stockings, is that their Red Legs, so. Whatever we called them? I wasn't around then, I don't know, but.
Oh, I was, but.
A lot of years of playing in Cincinnati, and there's a strike on the outside corner to Brendan Ryan to even the count. And they're playing behind Carpenter, of course, at first base. And he's just going to go station to station. And even on a ground ball, you just hope he just kind of gets out of the way. Doesn't have to try to break up a double play here. Right, here's where you just kind of have to use your brain. 1-1 the count to Ryan. Swing and a miss. A lot of people, Al, I think, even thinking about Loesch last night getting injured, making a play. But, at some point your competitiveness takes over. He dove for a play, a bunt from Cueto. Then tried to make a throw to first base, re-injured his forearm, but I don't know how you stop doing that when you're a competitor. There's a base hit to right field for Ryan.
Yeah, it's easier said than done to say, okay, don't overextend yourself, do this and everything, but these guys are at this highest level because they are competitive. And we may think the Carpenter runs a little too hard on this one.
Just get to the bag and stop. Don't even. He rounded it.
Yeah, I mean, don't test
have to do that. Just get to that bag and hug it.
I mentioned Rex Udler earlier, but I used to love to describe Rex. Rex ran until they tagged him out.
That's true. Fernando Vina did that from time to time. And our first baseman does that every once in a while. But you know what? He's always safe.
Yeah.
He always forces a bad throw somehow. And actually his defensive aggressiveness may have caused an error in the 6th inning.
It didn't come back to hurt the Reds, but it was Phillips' fourth there.
Yeah, it did prolong the inning, though. And Albert Albert's getting that reputation of putting pressure on defenders, and good for him.
Burden is warming up for the Reds. He was just recalled when they put Volquez on the disabled list.
Schumacher fouls that one off to the left. There's a big gap in right center field for Skip Schumacher. Center fielder is Chris Dickerson. He's playing in place of Willie Taveras. We kind of were hard on Willie Taveras early in this series when Nick Stavanoa had a fly ball double to center, but his hamstring was just not quite healed, and he just wasn't able to run. It looked like he was running in mud in center field.
Right.
And he's such a fast runner, but he's just not healthy, so he's out of the lineup tonight.
That's the case, you know, and it could have possibly cost them the game.
Absolutely.
So, you know, you just got to go with healthy bodies,
especially late in ball games. 1-2 the count for Schumacher. He hits with 1 out. Cardinals 7th inning. Cardinals lead 3-0. Carpenter the runner at second. Ryan the runner at first. Ball hit to the first baseman. He's going to go to second first after hesitating. Then the throw on to first in time to get Schumacher. That's a 3-6-3 double play. Cardinals have hit into 3 of them, but they do have 3 runs.
And you hope that, you know, by watching that they don't develop bad habits. You know, I don't always say a lot, but I watch. I don't miss anything. But the main thing you want the guy to do is take a good BP, prepare himself for the game. Don't go in there and try to hit, you know, every pitch out of the ballpark. Use the field, get loose, work on his timing.
That's Cardinal hitting coach Hal McRae talking about batting practice. We listened to Cal Eldred as he was mic'd up for batting practice, and Hal talking about what's important from his point of view. Hal?
Ricky, you know, batting practice today has become a show. You know, when McGuire and, you know, all of the people come out and watch McGuire hit home runs, and Albert is carrying on that tradition. But who was probably the best that you ever saw as a hitter really going and using batting practice for what it's designed to do?
Tommy Herr.
And to me, it was Ted Simmons. And what Ted Simmons would do is he really accentuated hitting down on the ball.
Yep.
Never tried to hit a ball out of the ballpark. You know, worked. You know, took pitches and hit them where they were pitched.
Not trying to wow anybody.
Accentuated. You know, taking it to the opposite field and that downward line drive stroke.
How about the job Chris Carpenter has done here this evening? 1 out in the 8th. Ramon Hernandez the batter, and Chris Carpenter is pumping in strikes, and there's another one. The Cardinals are trying to go to 31-23. Al's already told you Milwaukee lost already, 4-3 to Florida. So the Cardinals will be tied for first place. Another good breaking ball.
Don't you? I mean, it's not fair, but this is the kind of game we expect from Carpenter.
That's right. Talk about the bar being high.
Yes.
0-2 the count. Another curveball hit on the ground to third. Brian Barden just in the game. Takes care of Hernandez. And it's time for another fun fact. The bluegrass removed from Fenway Park's left field after the 1967 resodding wound up as Carl Yastrzemski's lawn in Linfield, Massachusetts.
Now, I knew that.
You did?
Yeah.
I wonder if the ground crew had to go to his house to mow it.
I think they did.
When you're Carl Yastrzemski.
I think you're right. What do you want, sir? We'll be there at what time?
You know where Carl Yastrzemski played college baseball? That's an added fun fact for you, Al.
Well, and I do not know that.
University of Notre Dame.
Oh, I think I did hear that, but couldn't say that I could definitively say that, but it does ring a bell afterwards.
And he had a great career, Hall of Famer, of course. 1-1 the count to Nix. This ball hit high and deep to right field off the bat of Lance Nix, and it is gone. Lance Nix with his third home run of the series, his 7th of the season, and the Cardinals lead is now 3-1 as Nix got a pitch up and in from Chris Carpenter, and not perhaps the spot that Jason LaRue was talking about, Al.
Well, let's see. And you can tell right now it's not there. It's out over the plate. It's down. It's right into the swing of his, a low ball hitter. Gets the full extension and he hits a home run. That's what also, LaRue said. Pitches like that are supposed to be hit out.
Exactly. Missed his spot, and he hasn't missed very many spots today. Chris Carpenter has given up just 3 hits.
Nix was one of the few guys that's been able to put the ball in the air tonight. All 3 plate appearances, this one over the fence.
The Cardinals can tie Milwaukee with a victory here tonight. Cincinnati began play just 2.5 games back, and Cincinnati's been one of the best road teams in the National League. They're 15-12. Only the Phillies and the Dodgers have a better road record than the Cincinnati Reds.
And what gets overlooked is it's been Albert and Carpenter. No other support other than defense.
And Barton takes care of Gonzalez. We're going to see Albert again when we come back. Outstanding performance by starting pitcher Chris Carpenter, who's looking for his 4th victory of the season. He leads 3-1. The offense has been provided by Albert Pujols. 2-run homer in the 3rd inning, 431 feet, and an RBI double in the 6th.
It's hard to believe that as good as Carpenter's pitching today, his ERA has gone up 1,100 points. But Harang, give him credit. I mean, Cardinals have had him on the ropes, but they can't put him away.
And he's certainly been battling tonight. Does not have the same kind of stuff that Carpenter has. He's missed his spot quite a bit, missed location. Does not have overpowering stuff today. Does not have the good changeup, but somehow managing to get outs when he needs them. I said the Cardinals had 3 double plays. There have been 4 double plays that the Cardinals have hit into.
And you know what? This would be a 1-0 Reds lead if you took away Albert. That's how well he's pitched, but you got to say, why has he allowed, Albert to get 2 mighty swings against him and do all the damage?
Imagine about 11:30 tonight when he's sitting in his hotel room, he's going to ask himself that same question. Ball high to Rasmus, 3-1.
11:30, they may be back in Cincinnati. The way this thing's going.
It might be right. Odd homestand. The Reds are going home for just 3 games against the Chicago Cubs.
And the Cubs in Atlanta were rained out, so Braves are probably watching this one. Or excuse me, the Cubs.
The Reds just haven't really had a big losing streak all season long. They've never been more than 4.5 games out of first place since the start of the season. The Cardinals' low mark has been 3 games out, so both these clubs hanging with the division leader, which at this point is the Milwaukee Brewers. And you've got to figure the Chicago Cubs are going to play better before the season's over.
Yeah, we went to get Ramirez back and settle things down their bullpen. But I don't see any team in the Central Division running away with it.
I don't either.
And that's good for baseball. I mean, it's good to see that there's going to be competitive teams. Probably Pittsburgh and Houston will not be part of it, but there'll be a 4-team race with everybody else.
3-2 pitch is hit high into right field. And Jay Bruce will take care of another first-round pick, Colby Rasmus. And our prime cut of the game is delivered by Albert Pujols. Our prime cut by Hardy.
Seen missing location, and Albert hits his 17th home run last time out. Missed location. He hits a double, just a laser off the wall. And all 3 RBIs for the Cardinals tonight off the bat of Albert Pujols.
And there's a bullet. What a play by the third baseman. Oh my, you can't hit a ball harder than that. Are you kidding me?
I mean, that's a big league and a good glove right there that, sticks his hand up in self-defense, but he's making sure he got his pretty face out of the way.
How do you make this play?
Watch this ball coming right at you. And you can see he didn't want any part. He was going to, hopefully it hit my glove, but it's not going to hurt me.
The face tells everything, doesn't it? He looked in his glove and he just, his heart was pounding. You cannot hit a ball harder than that. No.
Some people don't realize it, but many times a guy will hit a ball harder in a non-home run swing than he does when he hits a home run. He just has top spin, or it just doesn't elevate the ball.
And Jerry Hairston Jr. can attest to that.
He can tell you.
Ryan Ludwig batting with 2 outs, takes a strike on the outside corner. He's down 0-2. Ludwig reached on an error in the 6th, also singled in the 2nd. He's 1 for 3.
On a ball like that line drive, you make sure you catch it in the webbing, and then hope the glove holds together.
And a swing and a miss takes care of Ryan Ludwig. Nice job tonight by Aaron Harang. Chris Carpenter so far has been better. We go to the 9th. Cardinals 3, Reds 1.
It's been Chris Carpenter and Albert Pujols, but let's look at Harang as he starts off Ludwig with his slider, brought to you by Chevrolet, or pitch by pitch, couple sliders, and then he chases that one in the dirt. That's the one thing that, you know, that Tony doesn't want these guys, is they're struggling a little bit to chase. But here's your story: 3 RBIs, 17th home run by Pujols, and a gem by Carpenter.
Your 2 stars acting like stars here tonight at Busch Stadium. Chris Carpenter begins work here in the 9th inning. That was just pitch number 86. Albert Pujols supplying all 3 RBIs. And Chris Carpenter throwing nothing but strikes, giving up 3 hits through 8. The home run in the 8th inning by Lance Nix, the only blemish, the only number that's not a 0 on that board for Cincinnati.
Yeah, solo home run, first he's allowed this year.
And there's one out, fly out to right field, and let's go to Jim Hayes with the U.S. Cellular Cardinals live preview. Jim?
All right, Rick, here's what's coming up after the game. Another stellar outing by Chris Carpenter. We'll break that down. Albert Pujols has himself another huge night. We'll revisit that as well. Plus, we'll have Tony La Russa's post-game news conference as well as player reaction. It's all coming up after the game. Pat Paris, the omnipresent Rick Horton, live at Lumiere Place. For now, we go back upstairs, guys.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. Look forward to that. And we've looked forward to this outing by Chris Carpenter, and we've not been disappointed. He's been outstanding. Johnny Gomes will pinch hit for Harang, who is pretty good himself, and he takes a breaking ball right down central. Strike 1.
Gomes kind of talking to himself right there. He gets that breaking ball. You've been sitting there just a little over 2 hours. But he's seen all of his teammates being frustrated going back to the dugout. Now he got his chance to see why.
I'm sure they were muttering in that dugout. A lot of talk goes on.
This guy's good. Here's the slider.
Well, it's kind of interesting when that chatter happens, because you don't want to come in and say, hey, we can't hit this guy. I mean, so you don't want to say anything negative, but you also want to be truthful. Didn't want the curveball. Wants the slider again.
Cutter, middle of the plate, but it's an out.
If it comes down, he's out. 2 outs here in the 9th inning, and it's time for our Budweiser player of the game. Let's see, who might that be? How about this guy who's getting a standing ovation as we speak here at Busch Stadium? Chris Carpenter. Unbelievable night for the Cardinal ace.
You know, Albert has quite the night, but it gets overshadowed by the brilliant pitching of Carpenter, trying to run his record to 4-0 and give the Cardinals a share of first place. Look at this crowd.
Strike 1. Jerry Hairston. 2 outs in the 9th. Cardinal fans anticipating. Fly ball down the right field line, and it is foul.
Did you see the extra effort from Ludwig on that? I mean, he's always given flat out hustle, but just a little bit special to be playing in a game like this and wanting to preserve a gem for his pitcher.
39,249 fans have gotten their money's worth tonight.
I think Tony will enjoy talking to the media tonight.
I think he will. Well, one more out to get.
How about ending it on your 95th pitch? 0-2. That slider's been a good pitch for him. Molina wants the curveball. He's changed, wants the fastball in. Jammed him.
Ryan to Pujols. And Chris Carpenter has picked up his 4th victory of the season. An outstanding outing for the Cardinal ace. Cardinals even the series 2-2 with a victory against the Reds. More in a moment.